I talk about many ancient events in my channel. Even though I know when these events took place, I wouldn't harp on them too much in order not to blow away an average educated dinosaur believer. However, it is also important for us to know the timeline of events which we have been talking about to have a command on the subject. When God created Adam and Eve, the devil and his fallen angels were already present in this planet. People lived an average of 1,000 years in those days. From the time of Adam, Noah's flood occurred after 8 generations. That event was so cataclysmic, we have no traces of anything prior to that event. And yet, that incident took place hardly 2,400 years before Jesus. Every major epic of every religion talks about the deluge. This is the reset point of human history, and what followed after the flood is what we can all relate to, and this is where archaeology plays a crucial role on proving or disproving our claims. Now, without much further ado, I present you with some landmarks in history to understand the big picture of our human existence in a better way. I have rounded the years for easy reference. Around 4000 BC, humans were created on planet Earth. In about 1600 years, that is around 2400 years before Jesus, the flood occurred. The Tower of Babel, the confusion of tongues, and the scattering of the people happened at 2300 BC. This event is very important because this is what kick-started many nations of our world. This is when paganism grew stronger and remained so for another 2600 years. The fallen entities from Lucifer's abyss interacted heavily with humans at the beginning of that period. Meanwhile, God met Abraham around 2000 BC and made a covenant with him to establish his kingdom upon the earth through his descendants, the progression of which we are all a part of. He took Abraham to the land of Canaan and promised him that he will give that land to his descendants. Abraham's family lived in Canaan in tents. Then, around 1800 BC, during a severe famine, they left Canaan and moved to Egypt, where they were well received and later enslaved. After centuries of suffering, they left Egypt around 1450 BC and reached the borders of the promised land Israel, which used to be Canaan, around 1400 BC. For the following 400 years, they were ruled by some godly elders known as the judges. Israelites had their first king Saul just before 1000 years BC. Around the year 1000 BC, King David ruled. His son was Solomon. After Solomon's rule, the kingdom divided into the northern kingdom of Israel and Judea. By the way, the children of Israel were of 12 tribes. 10 of them were taken away captives by the Assyrians around 720 BC and never to return again. Just before 600 BC, the remaining 2 tribes were taken away to Babylon by King Nebuchadnezzar. In about 70 years, when King Cyrus allowed them to go back, a small portion of them returned and rebuilt Jerusalem amidst much struggle and opposition. Then, around 300 BC, Alexander the Great came. Judea went under the Greek rule. Later, with the blessings of the Romans, the Jews drove away the Greeks, only to be enslaved by the Romans around 60 BC. And Jesus was born on the year 4 BC during the Roman occupation. and we all have a reasonable idea of what happened afterwards. Well, that's it, folks. I'm sure these landmarks will give you a better understanding of the biblical history. Thanks for watching.